Hello, welcome back. Today is the day after what we collectively call Independence Day. And on Independence Day, I like to reroute the idea and think of it as more of Interdependence Day. And this is why. So the other day, I was going out into my usual place of inquiry, and in that inquiry, I was asking, what is it, given that we've been in quarantine for so long and in some semblance of isolation for some period of time now, and so what is the human need about this idea of connecting, this idea of congregating, of creating communion or community with others? And so I went outside in my usual way into nature, as I learned actually from a children's story many years ago called All I See is Part of Me. And actually I brought this as a show and tell for you today. So all I see is part of me, and during Shavasana, I'm planning on inviting your inner child to join me for a 5-minute Shavasana with this book being read. So, just so you know, Shavasana, you get to bring your inner child in and have him or her have a little story time at the end. So anyway, all I see is part of me. I sat down and I was there contemplating belonging and communion and community, and I was really connected with this idea of interdependence, because when I saw the landscape, I realized that I was part of the landscape, that I wasn't just witnessing the landscape, I actually was part of the landscape. And this profound sense of belonging emerged from that awareness, that I was in communion and I was in community with the landscape. So, independence becomes interdependence. Interdependence becomes communion, connection, and a sense of belonging. All I see is part of me. That is our theme for today's class. Okay, so let's just bring awareness into the breath, into the body, into a sense of allowing the breath to drop down into the belly. And as you allow the breath to drop down into your belly, let's call in that inner imaginal, that inner one who has an imagination, because we're going to be playing a little bit with discovering inner landscape. So feeling into the breath and letting yourself land into your belly center, which helps you land into your pelvic center, which helps you land into your root center. And imagine that you can breathe down in through the pelvic floor into that base of the pelvic floor that in Sanskrit they call it the Mula Bandha. And the Mula Bandha is that pelvic floor that breathes with the inhale. Let yourself feel that sense of the dropping down, almost like you're spreading your roots down. And then as you exhale, drawing that pelvic floor up with the exhale. So you may want to place your hands on your belly center so that you can bring even more awareness down into the pelvic floor, into the belly, or into the lower back. And then close your eyes for a moment and just imagine that you actually did have a root system that you could lean into or spread out to support you. And that you're nourishing and nurturing yourself by calling in as you draw up with the exhale, calling all that energy from the roots into the core of the body. Breathing in, receiving the nourishment by stretching out, opening to receive, and then exhaling, drawing it in, up and through the center of the belly, the center of the whole body, actually, all the way up through the crown. Let's do this just a few more times. We're going to introduce the Mula Bandha into different postures throughout. But just letting yourself come in. And in for a moment, just to receive that sense of belonging. That sense of being in communion even with yourself right now. To feel the interdependence of all the parts of you. And that beautiful natural dance of all the parts of you belonging to the wholeness of you, being one. That's it. All right, as in other classes, the last couple classes, I actually brought an essential oil. And today's essential oil is honoring the respiration of the body, and it's a blend actually by Florocopia that has a combination of pinyon pine and juniper. Yum, right? So let's just give a drop of that to be part of literally our inspiration. So whatever it is that you might find, maybe lavender, maybe something that's going to be inspiring for you. Maybe one of my spritzers that I make. Let yourself smell. Maybe even anointing yourself a little bit with that oil. Connecting all the way down and through the root system. And then we're going to come up into standing. Okay? So, I had a big bolster today that I was sitting on. We'll move that to the side. And we'll start in our, we haven't done this in a while. So I really want to do the around the clock, kind of stepping forward, right foot into the front of the clock, or we'll say 12, right? And then just altering or going around the clock with this right foot. And as you do that, start to become aware of maybe planting the roots of that foot into the earth in a different way as you go around the clock. So I want to invite this idea as we go around the clock, or back around the clock. I want to invite this idea of the doctrine of signatures. It's a form of science actually that has been around for hundreds of years. So we can go to the other side. So it's called the doctrine of signatures. And the doctrine of signatures is actually used by herbalists and as creating medicinals or creating medicine for people based on how nature has basically shown us what plant to use or what food as a remedy can be used to support different parts of our body. And the interesting thing is, in the doctrine of signatures, nature somehow decided to make it look like that part of the body. So let's say, for instance, ginger root. We know ginger root is a great spice, but it's also a medicinal. And when we look at ginger root, it kind of looks like the digestive system. It kind of looks like our guts. All right, come back to center. I'm just feeling that in your body as we warm things up a little bit more, starting with the right ankle rolling out. So we've got ginger looking kind of like the intestines, right? And what does ginger do medicinally? Circle around and inward now. It helps with digestion. So you can see how like ginger looks like the body part that it helps. The same thing goes with walnuts. Interestingly enough, walnuts, let's go to the other side. Walnuts, actually when you crack them open, they look kind of like a brain, like the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Let's go the other direction. So go figure, walnuts are actually good for brain and cognitive health. Fascinating, huh? Well, as they studied, let's stretch the top of the foot. As they studied throughout hundreds of years, they found this to be true for many, many different plants. That all the plants had a certain signature, and that as we began to know more about anatomy and the way that the body is created inside, we found that there really is, go ahead and circle the other direction around with the knees, there really is a signature of everything we see inside of us. Interesting, huh? Fascinating. That our, circle up with the hips, our lung system looks like the branches of a tree, or our cardiovascular system, circle around the other way. All the veins in the body, they look like a root system. They look like from and out and through the body, this rootedness of conductivity and connection. So we are just like what is outside of us. That inside of us, there's a whole oceanic kind of character. There are all these different ways that we're shaped the same way nature is shaped. Let's circle the arms around the torso. So, anatomy and physiology mirrors the landscape, the earth. Go figure. We're shaped by and connected to everything outside of us and each other. That we are one being with many different shapes and expressions. All right, let's circle the shoulders back, alternating shoulders. So this interdependence notion that we are all parts of a wholeness of our being is mirrored again with yoga practices. As you circle around, extend the arms just a little bit farther, maybe all the way through the fingertips. And that's what Namaste represents, right? The Namaste represents that notion of unified field, of the light that shines within you is the light that shines within me. Let's circle around the other direction. All right, I'm introducing a load of things, but if any part of it resonates with you, please just follow the thread. Follow that thread into this idea that we're connected and that we're one and that we are interdependent at the same time. All right, circle the shoulders forward and then both shoulders up and let them drop. Just let them come up and let them drop. All right, now interlace your fingers behind your neck. Holding at the base of the occiput, let's just draw the chin to the chest, circling around. Circling around, let it just be a natural flow, not a push or an effort. Soften through the neck, front, sides, and back. Maybe add a little bit of movement with the arms to encourage this so that elbows drop down and forward, elbows open up wide and back. And then circling the other direction, continuing that movement. And then coming back up to center. Let's roll down, chin to the chest, and just soften through the knees as you fold forward into a forward bend. Just softening through the knees so that you can just let your upper body hang the hands, and then just slowly roll up. Vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling up and letting yourself come up to an upward alignment. And then just pause. Just feel the difference in your body already. Yeah. Okay, if you want to use a gurdy ball, get your gurdy ball out, and we're going to place the gurdy ball between our knees, or between our thighs, above our knees, and then feel that squeeze of the gurdy ball up through the center column of the body, feeling that sense of length all the way through the crown, and then pressing into the feet all the way down. Now, in yoga, what a lot of our postures are called are named, or at least, they're named after the quality of the environment that they want to invoke. So, for instance, we're going to go into mountain pose, the primary standing pose. So bringing your arms up into mountain pose, what might be the landscape, the kind of mountain? I'm calling on your imagination here, so play with me. Your inner child is being invoked today. So play with me and imagine, what kind of mountain are you? I mean, I'm kind of a small rolling hill mountain, actually. I'm not a majestic tall mountain necessarily. I'm more like a soft North Carolina mountain. Or maybe I'm feeling more like a cliff today. I'm feeling more like maybe I'm a Pacific Northwest kind of mountain. Yes, that's what kind of mountain I am. What kind of mountain are you? Just let your imagination, you might not even think about it too much, just let yourself have one now, and you can always change your mind. You can be a different kind of mountain tomorrow. All right, from the mountain, let's bring the arms out and down. Just pause for a moment, feeling that quality of mountain that you are. And then we're going to come into moon, or half moon, which is a typical posture that we usually do to follow the mountain. I want you to bring your awareness into the kind of moon that you are. If there is an inner landscape of your being that is mirrored outside of you, what might your kind of moonscape be? So as we come over to the right, let yourself imagine yourself as a half moon, as a crescent moon, as a, well, today is the full moon. So maybe you're a full moon and feeling that sense of that energy moving through you. Let's breathe into that and then come back up to center and go over to the other side, following that round spherical energy of moon that is you. I feel like I am a full moon. I'm a full moon today. What kind of moon are you? Are you a Cheshire cat moon? Full moon? I mean, smiling moon? What kind of moon? All right, coming back up to center. And then bringing the arms out wide and down. Pause for a moment. Bring your awareness again to the legs. So see if you can feel that sense of splaying the toes, pressing into all 4 points or 4 corners of the feet. Feeling that sense of engagement of the inner thighs pressing against the ball, as well as the outer thighs pressing down and away, engaging those hip muscles and quads. All right, now from here, we're going to extend the arms straight out, and we're going to come into what I usually call standing squat. But this time, I want you to imagine that you are sitting back into a throne. And you get to sit down and back into a throne that is your version of a throne, whatever that is. Bringing your arms down onto the armrests of your throne. My throne actually feels more like a stone throne. I feel like I'm in between some giant rocks and there's a nice seat for me. And I'm looking out, I'm gazing out over a waterfall. Yes, my throne is a waterfall view kind of throne. What kind of throne are you on? And what is your vantage? What are you gazing upon from your throne? Now, right now, your thighs are probably saying hello. But sometimes just getting the imagination going and playing a little pretend actually can help us focus even more into that sense of strength and vitality. Find your inner wise one that sits upon the throne that can guide you. Yeah. All right, from here, press down into the floor, lifting up. Oh my goodness. Feel the strength of your legs. Feel that sense of rootedness through the legs. Okay. And now we're gonna do another balancing kind of squat, but this time we're gonna do drinking bird. Okay, so remember this is the one where we come up onto the balls of our feet. So lift your heels. Think of pressing down into the balls of the feet, lifting your heels, bend or soften your knees, and then extend your wings back behind you as you bow forward. And there's a counterbalance happening with your arms behind you as your upper body folds forward. Continue to lift with the heels, balancing on your perch. And then maybe imagine, what kind of bird are you? What kind of bird are you in this drinking bird posture? Now the yogis then called upon whatever it was that this drinking bird or this bird could offer them. Maybe this is an owl, the wisdom of the owl at night, flying at night, and the vision of the owl at night. Maybe it's the eagle, the hawk, who has the vision of the day with great specificity. Maybe you're a robin that can get close to the earth. Maybe you're a colorful bird, like a toucan or a parrot. Maybe even a peacock. Ooh, very colorful. All right, from here, let your arms come back to center. Let the heels drop back and come back up into standing. Pause for a moment. Just maybe close your eyes. Just receive drinking bird. Maybe, again, receiving the kind of bird that you might be today. All right, let's let go of the ball and put it to the side. And then come back into standing, feet parallel, hip distance apart. And let yourself just feel again the ground of your heels dropping back and down. Shift your weight over to your right foot. And align big toe, navel, sternum, nose, crown of the head, all on that line. Now find a visual focal point for yourself. And then bring your left leg up into your version of tree. So it may be at the ankle, it may be at the lower leg, it may be up into the upper thigh. Whoop. And then bringing hands to the heart, palms to palm, palm to palm. And now in tree, what kind of tree would you be? What kind of tree? I think I would be a cedar. Or a redwood. Whoop, whoop. Redwood losing its balance. What would you be? What kind of landscape do you live in? All right, and let's bring that leg down. Shifting your weight over, maybe shake the right leg out a little bit as you shift over to the left. And then finding your visual focal point, something that doesn't move. That was my issue with this whole not finding my balance this time, is that I keep on moving my visual focus. And so just letting yourself find that place of balance, Find your root system going through the standing leg. And what kind of tree would you be? All right, and bringing that leg down. Shifting your weight back, and let's shake out the left leg. All right, and actually, let's just play a little bit with that kind of kicking out. Just shaking right leg. Remember, this is part of that Traeger technique that we did. Maybe it's been a while, I guess. Maybe it's been a month or so. But that shaking of the leg can really just help to release your lower back, your hip. Let's just shake out the other leg. It's also good after any kind of balancing standing posture, just to kind of like let everything kind of find its way back into a sense of relaxation and openness. Oh my goodness, that just took us right into the 2-year-old grounding exercise, which I think just must happen. It just must happen now, especially because we're really calling on that 2-year-old today. That imaginative 2-year-old that realizes that they're able to create through their vision, that they're able to create. You are able to create through your vision, through your imagination, and you get to let go of anything that's unlike that. Let go of any obscuration, anything that obscures your imagination from being completely realized. Letting it all go, letting anything that gets in the way of you being able to say, yes, I am connected. I am in communion. I am in community with everything, wherever I go, how I can be part of and belong. Yes. And then coming to stillness, just pause, feel that in your body. Yes. Walk the feet out just a little bit farther, hip or shoulder width apart, and bring the arms up into a victory pose. Feeling the victory of engaging the imagination, of engaging the brilliance and wonder of and the power through your Einstein mind, your Dr. Seuss self, all that's potentially through and connected to the wholeness of our being and how it informs us in its brilliance as us, miraculously, magically creating us every day, every breath. Victoriously connecting to that part of you, that imaginal self. Yes, I have in my imagination, actually, it's funny, she's a little princess, and she is a princess of imagination. She actually creates worlds. Go figure. Yep, that's part of me. Who's in you? All right, let's bring those arms down and widen out the stance just to the edge of the mat. Hands at the hips into Wonder Woman, Superman. Pressing down into the earth, pressing down into your hips. Open up through the chest, just drawing the elbows slightly back behind you. Lengthen the tailbone down underneath you, directly underneath you. Lengthen through the chest, opening up through the heart. Open through the front of the throat so that the neck is resting just over the torso and the head over the shoulders. And then feel into the superhero that you are. Maybe you're not Wonder Woman. Maybe you're not Superman. Maybe you have your own unique superhero self. Who is that in you? It was around this time last year. Maybe that'll be another theme. But around this time last year that I was actually bitten by a copperhead. And so I have been imbued with the venom of snake energy. So I don't know, there's my superhero self must be some sort of serpentine goddess. I'm not quite sure, but she knows how to shapeshift, that's for sure. Maybe she becomes dragons. Okay, well, before I go too far out there in my imagination, let's release this pose and let ourselves come back to center. All right, from here, let's come into our warrior self. So we're going to step forward with the right foot, back with the left foot, and then bring the arms up overhead, interlace fingers, and then shift your weight into the front knee. Now, feet are parallel, hip distance apart, and feel that sense of tracking directly over the ankle. So your knee is directly over your ankle and your front foot. The back foot, lift the heel up, and then see if you can drop it back by lengthening through that whole back leg. So you're lifting it up through the back of the knee, and feel the length of that leg opening up through the front of your left hip. So you're strengthening the right hip, pressing down into the heel. You're lengthening the front of the left hip as you open up through the whole front body. Lift up through the crown, lift up through the heart, and finding your warrior self. The peaceful warrior is what emerges through me, feeling that sense of love beaming through me as my secret weapon is my heart. And it just undoes everyone before me. All right, now let's bring the arms down and bring ourselves down to a lunge. So for me, I'm going to have to scoop my back leg farther back, so you might want to do that. And then go ahead and drop the back knee, shifting the weight forward into a deep stretch through the front of that left hip. Coming into the lunge, I don't know, the vision that I have here is that you are a warrior being knighted. So maybe there's your own version of that. As you bow the head forward, deepening into the stretch and feeling that sense of length through the front of that left hip and deepening into the stretch and strengthening through the back of the right hip. All right, now from here, let's bring our hands to the inside of that right knee. And then either soften into the elbows or even come all the way down onto your forearms to then drop the right knee out slightly so you feel that sense of stretch through the inner thigh that's deepening into the groin, into the inner thigh, into the hip. And then maybe even feeling that all the way through the lower leg down into that inside of the heel on the right foot. Breathe into this and see if you can bow not only to whoever is knighting you, but you're bowing to the earth as your witness. Coming back up. Let's draw hands on either side of the thigh again and go ahead and lift the back knee, still maintaining the lunge. Lift the back knee and feel the strength of that left leg as you extend it. Now, if it feels right, you can bring your hands up onto your thigh. There you go. Feel that deepening, strengthening, and support that's there for you in your right foot. Okay, and then put the hands down again, and then let's extend the front leg. So you're extending the front leg and feeling the stretch through the back of that right leg. Let's try this again, actually, with the knee dropped. So drop the left knee down onto the floor, and then extend the right leg in front of you, dropping your hips back and down. Bowing even more deeply, stretching through the back body. And then shift the weight forward again. This time, let's step forward. And then roll up to stand. Okay, from here we're going to do the same thing to the second side. So I'm going to step just back just a little bit. And then go ahead and step back with the right foot. Arms coming up overhead. Interlacing hands or interlacing fingers. And then shifting your weight forward into the right knee. As you shift the weight into the front, leg or the right, sorry, your left, I'm mirroring you, so I sometimes get a little bit confused. Make sure that the knee is directly over the ankle and not past it. Okay, so the foot doesn't travel the knee doesn't travel beyond the foot, okay? And then feeling that sense of length through the back leg, so maybe lifting that heel up and then extending the leg back, lengthening from the back of the knee, lengthening from the heel, and then add into the opening through the front body, feeling the stretch into the front of the right hip, lengthen up through the chest, throat, neck, head, feeling that sense of the length all the way through the index fingers into proud warrior self. Maybe the peaceful warrior, the one whose weapon is unconditional love, presence, compassion, forgiveness, understanding. And that is the most powerful force possible. All right, let's bring the arms down on either side of the foot. Drop the back knee. I'm going to scoot this leg back actually a little bit farther forward or back. Either this leg forward or the back leg farther back, just so you have a little bit more play for your shifting the weight into deepening the stretch. Feel that stretch to the front of the right hip? Yeah. Bow the head. Bow the head into the blessing, the knighting of yourself, in a way. Feeling the queen herself is knighting you as a warrior. And then bringing the hands to the inside of that foot. Let's let the left knee drop out and come down, either bending into the elbows or coming all the way down to the elbows and bowing to the earth. Feel that deep stretch in through the inner line of the left leg. Feel it all the way down into the hip, into the groin, into the inner thigh. You're also feeling a deep stretch through the front of the right hip as well. All right, bringing your hands back up. And on either side of the foot, let's come back up, lifting the back knee, and walk your hands onto your thigh. As you do that, lengthen through the back leg. Really feel that sense of strength into the right hip, into the left hip, and digging that heel of the left foot into the earth. That's it. Now, planting hands down. Let's just do this with the back knee drop this time. Shift your weight back as you extend the front leg into a deep hamstring stretch. Bow your head down and forward, really stretching out through the back of the whole back body, really, through the hamstrings, to the heel, through the whole back body, all the way through the crown as your nose comes down towards your knee. And then shifting your weight forward. And then let's shift the weight, both feet forward, and roll up to stand. Okay, from here, we're going to do a forward, fourfold. A forward fourfold. So bringing your weight over to the right side, cross the left knee over into figure four. Now with figure four, what we're going to do is soften through that right leg. So you're supported deeply into this position, and then flexing the foot, bow forward into a forward fourfold. Saying that a few times. Forward fold. I can't even say it very quickly. Oh well, it's a day of poetry. Okay, now lifting up, lift up the leg, let the arms rest down, and place the left foot on the inner court jester self, right? Shift your weight over into the left foot and then crossing the right leg over. Now this might be your version of the court jester self, right? But now let's see if we can add to it by bending into the standing leg. Hands come to heart, bowing forward, flex that right foot back so you're really feeling a dynamic kind of energy moving through that fourfold leg. And bowing forward even more deeply if you can. And then coming back up. Okay. Heart beating a little faster. Feeling a little bit more like you're warmed up now. Yeah. Well, just in case you're not, let's make sure that we've got some a couple more standing postures that help you really get warmed up. So I'm going to call in your star self. So hop those legs out or walk those legs out and find your inner star self. What kind of star are you? Are you a Pleiadian star? I think I am. I think, are you Orion's belt star? Are you part of the Big Dipper star? What kind of star are you? Are you the Venus star as it emerges? Actually, it's a planet, but it looks like a star in the sky. So what kind of star are you? Feel your brilliance, feel your openness, feel your light, feel your beaming self that never ends in its expression of light. And then from there, let's go into goddess. So goddess, you know, is the softening through the knees and softening through the elbows until you're basically in the shape of the Holy Grail. You're in the shape of the chalice of life being received and given. And what kind of goddess are you? Yes, even you guys, you get to be goddess too. So we're all of it. We're male and female. Even though we have a body that looks a certain way, we have the energy of God and goddess in us. So feeling that sense of the creative potential of energy that flows through you, what kind of goddess are you? I think I'm Kuan Yin, a goddess of unconditional love, compassion, understanding, forgiveness. She rides on the back of a dragon. What kind of goddess are you? All right, now bring your hands down and sink into that squat, that sumo squat. In fact, actually, we might want to shift your weight back and forth from side to side a little bit, just opening up that squat just a little bit more, maybe, until you really come down into that depth of sumo squat that is yours. And then we're going to breathe with this. Inhaling, center. Exhale, gaze over the left shoulder. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, dropping left shoulder forward. And then with this, continuing, breathing in, up to center, exhaling, rotating over to the other side, just calling in that inner sense of sumo self, that part of you that is really grounded, that is really present, that is really, really strong, and really physical. In your physical body, you are here, you are grounded, you are present, you have landed. Yes, you are fully committed to embodiment. And we're going to do this one more time each side. And then center, we're just going to sink down and center. Sinking down and center. That's it. Feel that stretch and maybe shifting the weight from side to side. And maybe feeling a little bit more range. Maybe there's a little bit more space there for you to Just sink down a little bit more. Okay, now press that into the feet and extend the legs, coming back up. You can toe heel yourself back to center. And then close your eyes, just pause for a moment. Oh, just feeling that in your body. Now we're definitely warm, right? Now we're definitely got some blood circulating in that root system of the cardiovascular system, right? All right, we're gonna come down into downward dog now. So walking those front paws forward and those back paws backward. And then splay the fingers so your index fingers are pointing forward. The whole hand is supporting the weight of the heel of the hand, the palm, all the fingers flat down. Roll the shoulders back and down and feel that sense of connection through the armpits, all the way pressing through the arms into the earth. Now lift up onto your heels, or lift your heels and lift up onto the balls of the feet, and then press back so your ears are parallel with the insides of the elbows. Feeling the length of the whole spine, see if you can drop the heels back and down toward the mat. As you do that, you'll feel even more of a stretch through the lower legs, through the ankles, through the calves. But you'll also feel that sense of even more of a lengthening through the spine if you imagine lifting the tailbone up slightly. Not so that you're arching the spine, but that you're lengthening that tail like a really happy dog. In fact, this is the downward dog, so what kind of dog are you? I wonder. Oh my goodness, I think I'm a golden. That's what I am. Yeah. What are you? What kind of dog would you be in your downward dog right now? And let's take this into an upward dog. So we're going to shift the weight forward, dropping ourselves through a plank, and then up, lengthen through the core, draw the navel towards the spine so that as you drop the hips back and down, that you still feel a sense of engagement. It's not a collapsing down, it's a lengthening the front to come into this upward dog. Yeah. And then press back into downward dog. And in downward dog, let's just draw the left knee to the chest and then extend the leg back. And then place that foot down. We're just going to alternate. Swinging right knee to the chest and back and down. And left knee to the chest and back and down. Right knee to the chest and back and down. One more time each side. Left knee to the chest, swing it back behind you and down. And try to stay in a sense of control with the movement, so that it's an extending rather than a letting go. And then press both feet back down into the earth, into downward dog again. And then bring the knees down to the floor and shift your weight back into child's pose. So shifting the weight back, heels, or dropping the hips back toward the heels, extend the arms out in front of you. And surrender. Now this is called the child's pose. So imagine you are coming back to that child self, and even into that maybe in utero self. Letting yourself float a little bit from side to side, just dropping the hips to one side, and then slowly over to the other side. And then roll up onto all fours. So that means hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then tucking the toes under so you feel that sense of stretch through the bottoms of the feet. Let's curl the spine into the arched back cat with the exhale. And curl the spine back up into the saggy back cow with the inhale. Just alternate back and forth a few times, just following the breath. As well as we're, of course, calling in that imagination. What kind of cat might you be? Or what kind of cow might you be? I think I'd be one of those big orange tabby cats. How about you? And maybe one of those cows, the pretty black and white spotted kind. I can't remember what kind they're called. Alternating back and forth. And then we're going to invoke the puppy. The puppy side to side, wagging your tail. What kind of puppy are you? Inviting in the opening of the side seams of the body with your puppy energy. Alright, and then from here, we're going to pounce a little bit forward. So bring the hands out a little bit farther in front of you. And I'm thinking of this as the lioness move. So pouncing forward and coming back. And pouncing forward and coming back. So this is a big cat kind of move, as opposed to a little kitty kind of move. And then reverse it. So you're coming through and up and back. So you're gliding onto the forearms and pressing up and back. This is a really great strengthener for the shoulder girdle, as well as opening through the rotator cuff, triceps. That's it. Okay, so now we're going to add all those together into that snaky spine movement. So just letting yourself swing from side to side, up and down, back and forth. Again, the whole idea with snake is not to think much at all. Just let your spine unwind. Let your spine teach you where it wants to move. And maybe finding that fluid movement of the snake. Inviting in that snaky energy, that serpentine kind of one that is at one with the fluid movements of the body. And then take that all the way down to the floor. So we're going to take this all the way down onto our bellies. So all the way down into what I like to call, I call this the lizard. So lizard, we have our left leg or hip is going to rise up. You can see this, I think you can see this. And then bringing right arm up. Oh, sorry. Same arm, left and left, because I guess I'm mirroring you this way. And just turn your head toward your bent leg and bent arm. And breathe. Calling in the stillness of lizard energy. They're so calm. They just hang out. They just stay there, and then when they move quickly, but we don't have to do that part of it right now. We can just be in the hanging out in the slow lizard-like mode. So hanging out in the slow lizard-like mode, feeling the whole front body really connecting to the earth. Really feeling the vibe of all the creatures that live below the surface of the earth, and you are connected with all of them too. Yes, we have all those creatures kind of represented in us, in our guts as well. All right, extend the left leg and bring the focus over to the other side, drawing right leg up, turning the head to the right, extending the left leg back behind you. And we can play with a different position if you want, with the shoulder girdle, wherever it is that your arms want to rest. Mine kind of want to rest like this. It depends on your shoulders, and find a place where really you can hang out like a lizard. Just hanging out and being. Lizards are good at just hanging out and being. Basking themselves in the sun, they love that. They really love the stone people that Darren made here. We have lots of lizards that like to hang out and bask themselves in the sun on the rocks along our drive and in our yard. So feeling lizard energy, connecting to the earth, connecting to all those creatures below. And taking a deep breath in, let's extend that leg and bring ourselves back up. Tuck your hands so that they're close to underneath your shoulders. They'd be under your shoulders. You roll your elbows back and down close to your rib cage, and extend the legs back behind you so you're really feeling the pressing of the tops of the feet onto the mat, as well as pressing the thighs down, and then lifting up from there, pressing into the earth. Roll the shoulders back and down again. Think of lengthening, but also lifting that navel towards the spine, so you're really feeling that length through the spine into cobra pose. Okay, from here, roll back down, widen the hand position, widen the knee position, so let your knees come all the way out to the edge of the mat, so that the big toes touch behind you, and then sink back into child's pose. This time, shake with the wide leg. It'll give you a little bit more space for your hips to sink back into the pose. And then let yourself just wiggle from side to side just a little bit. Hips shifting from side to side. All right, continuing with this earth connection, let's walk the hands over to one side, so over to your right, and extend through the left arm, really feeling that deep stretch through the diagonal. And then walk yourself through center, over to the other side, really stretching out the right arm, dropping the right hip back and down. Again, stretching that opposite diagonal. Alright, and then let's cross the leg, or actually let's bring ourselves up into a squat. So we're going to shift our weight back, tuck the toes under, and bring yourself up into a squat. Now for some of you, you'll be able to do this and balance like I am on the balls of the feet. For others of you, you'll be able to drop back and sit back and even have your heels on the floor. Others of you will need to have your hands shift your weight slightly forward onto the balls of the feet and support yourself with your hands, wherever your squat is. And then some of you are going to be able to bring your hands together, palms together, and place your elbows to the insides of your knees, and really feel the length of the spine, dropping the tailbone down and lengthening all the way through the crown. Wherever you are in your version of squat, let's move back into, as promised, the Mula Bandha breath. So feeling that sense of, I like to think of it as the purse strings of the base of the pelvis. So remember we did this at the very, very beginning, where we inhaled and we felt that pelvic floor open. And then exhaled, we drew the pelvis up into kind of, I think of them as purse strings being lifted up with the exhale. Opening with the inhale, exhaling. Now if you want to call on awareness of, or kind of, it's like a sea creature that's moving like that through the pelvic floor. Its breath and its movement can also be conjured as part of the visual internally for you as you do the Mula Bandha breath. Strengthening your pelvic floor, strengthening your connection to the earth, and also strengthening all the organs that rely on the strength of the pelvic floor to maintain their integrity. We got a whole bunch of sea creatures inside our guts. All our organs are kind of like little sea creatures, right? They're all floating and moving. They actually do resemble creatures of the sea. Very fascinating. Yes, the doctrine of signatures represented yet again. I wonder what kind of sea creatures are good for different organs of our bodies. I bet it's in Chinese medicine. All right, from here, let's shift the weight forward. Come onto all fours again, but just as a transition, wrap the legs back behind you, and then let's bring the legs out in front of us, mat width apart. Hold up, just kind of support yourself behind, and then rock the knees back and forth. Yeah, just rocking one hip forward, and then the other hip forward. Just rocking out any of the hip tension, lower back tension that might have occurred during your squat experience. All right, and then from here, bring the bottoms of the feet together. Walk yourself up and get your sit bones underneath you. And then we're just gonna walk forward. Some people are gonna be able to walk forward. Others are just more like soften through the elbows and kind of feel that deep stretch. Others of you are gonna be able to fall flat to the floor, I'm sure of it. So just let yourself find your version of cobbler pose as you fold forward. Breathing in and feeling this, opening up the inner thighs, opening through the lower back, opening through the hips. And then roll yourself up. As you roll up, let's bring the knees together and roll back onto your back. So I'm just gonna move this way for you. To see me do it this way, we're gonna come up into bridge. So roll yourself back and down onto your back, hands at your sides, knees are upward and the heels are just close to where your fingertips can graze upon the back of them. We're gonna roll up into a lift of the bridge and then a roll back down. We'll do that several times, just lifting up, rolling up. Feel the vertebrae by vertebrae lifting up off of the floor and then rolling it back down again, vertebrae by vertebrae. And then come into your version of bridge, whatever that might mean for you. It may be that your hands are still at your sides, palms down, or it may be that your hands come interlaced behind you, walking the arms underneath you, opening up a little bit more through the shoulders. Either way, press into the heels. Lift up the hips. Extend the knees away from you. Feel that sense of lengthening through the back body as you press deep into the heels, lifting the hips. Lengthen the front body as you extend the arms back and down or down onto the floor and pressing gently as you open up through the chest a little bit more. Lengthen through the neck as you just gently extend the back of the neck, drawing the chin toward the chest. Feel that sense of bridging. Maybe you have become a rainbow bridge. Maybe you have become a little Zen bridge over a little river. What kind of bridge might you be? All right, release the hands and roll the shoulders out. And then let's just hold on to the back of the thighs and rock ourselves up to a seated position again. All right, from here, let's come to a balance. So you can, as you lift your feet, you can feel how it's engaging your core, right? So feel that lift, and then if it feels right, you can let go of the support at the back of the thighs, bringing the hands either directly out in front of you, or you can add a little bit more challenge by lengthening the legs and feel that sense of core engagement. Drawing knees down, Maybe just alternating, bringing one leg up and down, the other leg up and down. Okay, and next step here is to bring the arms all the way down, extend the legs, and see if you can come back up. Now, this doesn't have to be all the way up to a seated position again. It can be with a flat back. All right, let's just hold on to the back of the knees again and rock ourselves up. Oh my goodness, right? We've had a good practice. It's time to start to wind down. Down onto the floor again. All right, so draw the knees to the chest. And then rock yourself from side to side. Let's extend the right leg. And then as you extend the right leg, feel the length and the opening through this hip as you draw the left leg even tighter to the chest. Can you feel that play in between? Yeah. Now, if you have a roller, the other thing you can do, because I know that many of you do have rollers, and I highly recommend getting one. So I just want to show this stretch with a roller because it's really delicious. So you have to place it underneath your hips. And as you extend the leg, see how I'm pretty flexible and I can't really drop it all the way down to the floor. So it gives me even more opening through the pelvis and through the hips. Now we've already kind of warmed ourselves up pretty well, given that we did those lunges earlier, or we were christened, or we were knighted earlier. So this one, think of letting yourself find even more of a stretch. Okay, so now coming to the other side, right knee to the chest, left leg extended. And feel that stretch and opening. As you draw the knee closer, it gives you even more of an opportunity to stretch through that hip. Alright, and bring the legs both back up. Just want to show you another thing to do. We've got a spinal twist that's next. And with this spinal twist, we can bring the leg over. If you have a roller, you can actually add the roller to this spinal twist and support you. You can either roll it slightly, or just with that elevation, it actually helps you feel like you can be supported and you can rotate the arm back. This, however, if you want more of a stretch, you want to actually let go of the roller and bring that leg all the way down to the floor, if you can. If you can't, that's fine too, but just find your version of supine or on the spine, spinal twist. And then bringing that knee up. And switching legs into spinal twist on the other side. And then drawing the knee to the chest. And this time, let's move into happy baby. And this is a true invocation of inviting in your happy baby self. So let yourself hold on to the outsides of your ankles or outsides of the feet, or you can hold on to your big toes and let yourself just start to dance from side to side. Softly bending into one knee and then extending. And let it be a play, an exploration to reconnect with the happy baby inside you. To reconnect with that playful child that really was in touch with his or her imagination, his or her discovery and inquiry and questioning and playfulness, and not knowing was okay. To not know was actually preferred, so you could learn something new. You could discover with your curiosity. So what can you discover right now in your happy baby self about your leg, about your foot, about your ankle, about your back, about your hips, about your spine, about your face? Who knows what else you can discover through your version of happy baby? Oh, I discovered my roller. All right, and then from here, let's move into Shavasana. So it may be whatever position your Shavasana wants to be explored today. It may be that you let yourself come into corpse pose or into that pose of traditional Shavasana, legs extended, arms extended, palms up, shoulders under, open chest, relaxed pelvis, lengthen spine, and letting yourself find that sense of complete surrender into the earth. Whatever, wherever it is, it may be that you want to put the bolster or the roller underneath your knees, or maybe there's a blanket or some other prop that might be helpful for you to feel even more relaxed and comforted and supported. Whatever it is, it's time for story time. And I'm going to read. It's about a 5-minute read, so it's really not that long, so it's a perfect Shavasana kind of meditation read. This children's book called All I See is Part of Me. All I See is Part of Me. Here, maybe I'll turn it so you can actually see some of the images, because they're fantastic. I am part of all I see, and all I see is part of me. I am my hands, I am my feet, I am the puppy across the street. I am the moon, I am the stars. I'm even found in candy bars. You're so sweet. I used to think that I was small. A little body, that was all. But then one day I asked the sun, "Who are you?" It beamed. We are one. But the sun, how is this true? How can I be both me and you? He smiled. You might ask your sister star. She too is part of who you are. And so I waited till the night, when darkness let me see her light. Sister star, how can it be that I am you and you are me? She glowed. You're larger than you know. You are every place there is to go. You have a body, this is true, but look at what's inside of you. So I closed my eyes to see within, and I saw a light, and it made me grin. It reminded me of Sister Star. She said, that light is who you are. Your body is just a little part of the light that shines within your heart. In all the world, in all of space, your light shines bright. It's every place. And when you join it dot to dot, you'll see that you is what you've got. All the plants, the animals, and trees are in your light, and you are these. Look inside each one you meet and see your light. It's so complete. inside, outside, below, above. See your light and feel its love. You're asking you when you ask me, so you know everything, don't you see? I looked again at all my light and saw that Sister Star was right. For every question there could be, the answer was inside of me. All I ever had to do was ask the part of me that knew. And then I said, there's something more. Each question opens up a door. And every door that I walk through leads to a part of me that's new. Thank you so much, Sister Star. I love the part of me you are. I wondered as I climbed in bed, does all of me sleep when I rest my head? And then a voice, I guess was me, replied and spoke most lovingly, even when you sleep, you are awake in every shining star. I snuggled with my teddy bear, and in his light, I saw me there. You are me and I am you. You love me and I love you too. I closed my eyes and found my light, dancing with moonbeams in the night. I said a prayer I know was heard, 'cause all that is hears every word. And I can see in all of me that there can be no end. So journeying into your inner landscape, what is your tree, your flower, your herb, your scent, your star, your planet, your sun, your moon, every reflection. No end to its creativity, no end to its evolution, no end to its beauty and wonder and oneness, all at the same time. So letting yourself roll to your side, maybe come to a seated position, and bringing hands to the heart. Feeling it into with gratitude for this wondrous miracle of life. To the complexity and the interconnectedness and the interdependence within you and within us as one being. Bowing to the self, bowing to each other, bowing to the collective as we are discovering ourselves again and again and again. With wonder and childlike delight, I bow to you. Namaste.